Hello there once again, it's your old pal Locke the Bounty Hunter, and on today's very special episode, we're taking a look at another one from the It's Complicated channel, Obsolete, the rules of modern dating and understanding women. Apparently that's a thing. Link is in the description down below. Give this guy a subscribe. It's one of the best channels on YouTube as far as this intergalactic bounty hunter is concerned. So without any further ado, let's not waste any more time and dive right in, shall we?
Why do so many women today say they don't need a man?
Because they're not smart.
Because men don't want to take care of women anymore, so we've become more independent.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby! Don't you put that on us!
Nothing could be further from the truth. Men have been wanting to take care of women since the dawn of time. What's changed is women being brainwashed into thinking that they don't need men and that any men that doesn't meet their unreasonable standards are somehow beneath them. Combine that with unhealthy amounts of makeup, an obsession with tattoos and metal piercings, not to mention body counts that rival that of Rambo 3, men aren't all that interested in you because you're used up and damaged goods. What'd you think was gonna happen? Don't blame us for your terrible decisions. We're not gonna accept that blame.
Are men becoming obsolete?
No.
What's obsolete mean?
Outdated, no
God, asteroid, now.
longer useful.
I mean, they're still useful for certain things,
What are men still useful for?
like reaching the top shelf and stuff.
I feel like echelon of men is becoming obsolete, not all of them.
Why would we ever entertain the thought that men could become obsolete?
Back to your first question, women wanting to be headstrong, they have this idea made up that because I don't need a man, that's what makes me headstrong.
What does that say about how men are defined?
I just feel like they need to do better.
You! I will think of you as I throw up into the toilet.
Nobody cares what you feel, woman. Men are doing their best. Men have actually been set up in a game that's been rigged against them from the start, and it's been made even worse thanks to contributions from the militant feminist movement. We're doing the best that we can, and then you have the balls to sit there with a face like that, looking like you're at least 100 pounds overweight and telling us that we need to do better? Look in the mirror and speak for yourself, woman.
I don't know. They should have jobs, be providers, and not sitting on their butts being bums.
Most of us have jobs. That's how we pay our rent.
Can women ever become obsolete?
No, y'all need us.
What about the introduction of artificial wombs and sex bots?
Ooh.
Checkmate.
Dang.
Didn't think about that, did you?
We ain't got no time for that question.
I don't know. I hear they're like making babies with like bone marrow or something now.
Can women ever become obsolete?
No.
What about the introduction of artificial wombs and sex bots?
I don't know what that is.
It's self-explanatory.
Feel like there's a lot of like more feminist agenda kind of being pushed.
And I feel like your tattoos make you insanely unattractive. And what can somebody in the comments please explain to me, what is the appeal of these witch nails which make it look like it's impossible for a woman to wipe properly? Whenever I see that, I just see unsanitary hygiene habits, and that's pretty disturbing.
To where it's like this like process, or like this thought process of like, oh, you don't need a man, like I'm independent. But I'm a very big firm believer in that like feminine and masculine energy exists, and as a heterosexual woman, I feel like I need like a man's man for a lot of different reasons to be put into my feminine era.
Yeah, if you want a man's man, maybe you should have thought about that before treating your body like a canvas to a drunken artist. Seriously, how could you possibly have thought any of those tattoos were a good idea? Wait, I forgot. You're a modern woman. Thinking is beyond your abilities.
Does the fact that women no longer need men mean that the main reason women were with men was because they had to be?
I guess, yeah.
No, there's a biological drive for women to get with men. This isn't about societal needs. This is about biological needs. Women need to be with men. That's just how it's worked for eons.
Wouldn't that prove that men were often seen as a utility to be used?
I guess.
How is that different than men objectifying women?
It's not just a different type of objectification.
If women were historically with men because they chose to, wouldn't that prove that feminism taught women to hate men?
Yes.
It really did, but then there.
Good Lord! Have some respect for yourself! God!
was was a time in our lives when men always just thought they were superior to women as well.
Does a woman have to
I'm just gonna say this. That way of thinking, that hair, and that shirt screams, I'm a permanent resident of the friend zone.
rely on a man in order to treat him right?
No, not at all.
I think there's like a strange line where that, yes, I agree with that.
I think there was a point in time where women needed men because, I mean, a lot of women, like, back in the day were mothers. They were, like, stay-at-home mothers. They took care of the house. Whereas, like, now in today's society, it's like you kind of both have to work because
Yeah, because modern feminism demanded that women enter the workplace. And look where it got you. Now, in order to have a family, it's pretty much mandatory to have a 2-income household. The kids never see their parents, and the parents rely on the state to raise their children. All because you demanded the right to work, because feminism somehow convinced you that not working and earning an income was somehow akin to oppression.
of like how wages are and how like the cost of living is.
How is that different than men objectifying women?
Because they put themselves in that position, and women don't ask to be objectified.
Yes, you do. So you mean to tell me that every time you go to a club with your breasts hanging out of a tight-fitting dress with you covered in makeup that you aren't objectifying yourself? You do it to get attention from high-value men. That's why you do it. Maybe not you, because high-value men have standards and you clearly have no respect for yourself.
Something that we deal with every day that we do not ask for.
If women were historically with men because they chose to, wouldn't that prove that feminism taught women to hate men?
It depends on how you're thinking about it.
No, feminism taught women to hate men. That's just a straight-up fact.
Does a woman have to rely on a man in order to treat him right?
No.
Why is there a growing market for sex bots?
I don't even know what a sex bot is.
A sex robot, like an artificial AI girlfriend, like artificial intelligence girlfriend.
Because people are too complicated.
No, it's because modern feminism has completely foobarred human pair bonding to the point where men can't talk to women without running the risk of being completely destroyed on the internet. Meanwhile, modern women are going online and making fun of men who aren't getting any.
I think because there's a lot of men out there who are tired of like doing the bare minimum for women. So
define the bare minimum. If you're not willing to define the bare minimum, don't bother using it. It's a buzzword that you can't define, like feminism or intellect.
they feel like it would almost be easier to just buy a sex bot and not have to deal with any of like the bullshit that kind of comes with women.
Because they rather be on the video game or they rather be in like a VR with a virtual girl. You'd rather be on your video game while you got a live woman sitting next to you.
Okay, for starters, that live woman ain't sitting next to him because she's too busy chasing Chad. The people who are opting for this are so incredibly lonely, they will accept attention from anywhere, including virtual reality and including a robot. You're not sitting next to the type of guy who would purchase something like that. You're not sitting next to a guy that would actually consider having a VR girlfriend.
Stop indulging in the internet and find somebody that would get laid.
That only works for women, though. You can go out and get some action almost instantaneously. Your average guy doesn't stand a chance because women like you think that going after those guys is somehow beneath you and costs you your dignity, which is impossible because you clearly have none to spare.
Why are there virtually no male sex bots?
Because women can pretty much get any guy they want on the street.
You just said, why do women need men? So why would we make any mailbox? Oh, wait, we might need them to like build our houses and stuff like that.
What makes you think you're going to be able to afford a house built by robots? You really are not that smart, are you?
That's about it.
Why are men more likely to buy an entire sex doll while women are more likely to buy just a dildo?
Well, that's because as guys, I guess we want the whole experience instead of just a portion.
You're not experiencing anything, Mr. Friendzone.
How would the evolution of sex bots affect dating?
It wouldn't affect it any more that's already been affected. Dating is pretty much done. Your average guy typically can't get a date because they're getting ignored. By introducing the sexual robots, you are kind of making things weird, but dating as we know it has been completely destroyed thanks to dating apps, modern feminism, and women like this who think that men aren't worth their time for arbitrary reasons.
I feel like men wouldn't probably like try to date women as much.
We're not dating. You won't let us.
Honestly, I don't know. I feel like the more real they come, then the idea of women becoming obsolete to men would be more prevalent.
Why are the majority of sex toys made for women?
Because some men just can't do it, and they don't want to talk about it.
That's crazy! Oh my God. So many dildos.
Can vibrators make men obsolete?
I don't think so.
Can vibrators make men obsolete?
If they could, they would have already.
They could give them a run for their money.
I don't care if you would do and you think you're packing. A woman don't need you, bro. Women got shit to bust, bro. They got shit that's bigger than yours and that'll turn around and got beads and shit in it and it'll tickle their butt at the same time. We can't do all of that at once, bro. So that they can get cocky even back then. Like, remember back in the day, the vibrators in the 70s, 60s was just a little thing and it just did this. Now they got like 10 flavors and functions. And one thing will spin around and they got something to throw water at you every 5 seconds. We can't do all of that, bro.
If your boyfriend had an AI girlfriend, would that be considered cheating or masturbation?
No, that would be cheating 100%.
So here's my counter question to that. If you have a boyfriend who has an AI girlfriend, what good does that make you?
Why?
Because it's like another bitch.
But it's a robot. It's not a real person.
Yeah, but it's like he's emotionally connecting with a robot.
That's because he's not being able to emotionally connect with you. And what does it say about you if your boyfriend has to go get an AI chatbot in order to feel emotionally connected to something?
That would be masturbation.
So it actually has to be a real person.
Yeah, I think it would, for me, it would have to be a real person to be considered cheating.
What's the difference between him using a sex doll and you using a vibrator?
It's different. If it's like a whole doll, like that's, like if it's like trying to embody a person, like an entity, that's totally different. Like if you have like a vibrating cock ring or something, I wouldn't care.
Shut up! This is totally different!
But like a AI girlfriend is crossing the line.
If you could engineer the perfect boyfriend, would you, and why?
Yes, because it's so hard to date in this world.
No, it's very easy to date. You just need to lower your standards. Quit playing the victim. There is virtually an army of regular dudes out there who would have no problem taking you out on a date. You're just butthurt that they don't tick off your arbitrary standards. So lower your standards, humble yourself. You'll be able to date fairly easily. You're not going to do any of that because you think you're too special. You're really not.
Do you think we might see the end of organic relationships within our lifetime?
We already have.
Yes.
Why?
I think everyone just cheats nowadays. It's so easy for everyone to cheat.
I will agree that cheating has become mainstream, but that's because of the pool of people that you're dating. Your average guy is not going to cheat unless pushed to the absolute extreme. Women nowadays have been encouraged to cheat simply out of boredom. If you're bored with a guy, that means you're unhappy. The only way to feel happy is to cheat on him and betray the trust of a guy who cares about you.
If you could engineer the perfect boyfriend, would you, and why?
No, and because it comes with too many other complications that I already have to deal with.
Do you think we might see the end of organic relationships within our lifetime?
It's a possibility.
If you had to choose, would you rather die a virgin or live a life of meaningless sex with no intimacy?
I think I would rather live a life of meaningless sex with no intimacy.
Shocking.
Why am I not surprised that the woman who covered in ugly tattoos, who cannot wipe properly and covered in makeup, would say she would rather live a life of meaningless sexual intercourse? Because let's face it, that's the only way a woman like this can actually feel anything.
I would definitely die a virgin.
Sure, I believe that.
Do you require an emotional connection in order to have sex?
Yes.
I do require an emotional connection to have sex.
Liar! Liar! Liar!
No, you don't. You just literally said that you would rather live a life of meaningless sexual intercourse than die a virgin. If you're having meaningless intercourse, that clearly means that you are not having an emotional bond with the person with which you're sleeping.
If women typically require feelings in order to have sex, why do the majority of sex workers happen to be women?
Because they're just hoes. You can be a hoe and not have feelings. It's possible.
I think because there's a difference between sex workers and like emotional connection, because it's when you're a sex worker, it's more of a job and it's more seen as like, you know, like going to a regular job would be where.
No, sexual work is not viewed as just going on a regular job. It is actually considered to be kind of shameful and of the lower rung of society. It is not supposed to be normalized.
Whereas it's not really seen as like sex and like intimate connection.
If women are more likely to require intimacy, why aren't they the ones making more effort to save organic relationships?
Because women don't feel like they should have to. They can go out and get any guy that they want.
I agree. I agree with that.
I feel like women are just becoming fed up with men.
Y'all already, when I say y'all, the world already asks too much of us.
What do we ask of you? Name specific things. What do we ask of you? We ask for you to bring us peace. We ask for you to bring us some kindness. Maybe the occasional sandwich. What's wrong with that? This victim mentality, this oppression mentality has to stop. You as a woman are not oppressed.
What is a surrogate?
Somebody that has a baby for somebody else.
I read that scientists are developing an artificial womb to grow babies. If you had the option to become a mother without ever having to physically carry the child or go through the pain of childbirth, would you choose to do so?
Hell yeah.
That sounds like a horrible idea. Because how can you bond with that child if it's not growing in you?
Why?
Because childbirth was not fun. I tore from my cooch to my butt. I am not doing that again.
Oh, now that explains it. Okay.
If women and men were reduced to egg and sperm donors, would that make women no longer special or the so-called creators of life?
I feel like it would definitely change things up a little bit.
That's the thing. Women and men aren't that special. We're just two opposite sides of the same freaking coin. This whole men are superior or women are better than men is a pointless argument because neither side is true. Both have advantages and disadvantages. We go best together. However, that's not the case anymore.
Why is society engineering men and women out of relationships?
I think it's like the men's fault, but...
Really? You care to expand on that?
Like the social media definitely has a big part in it.
As the great Paul Harrell says, when you're 50% right, you're 100% wrong. It's so great that you're blaming us when you're the ones who deny us. You're the ones who ignore us. You are the ones who tell us that we're not good enough. You laugh at us, you emasculate us, and you do what you can to destroy us on certain occasions, and yet it's our fault that relationships are falling apart. Yeah, thank you for that.
Haven't we already engineered men out of relationships with sperm banks and government handouts?
Don't forget the divorce laws that overwhelmingly benefit women.
Kind of, maybe, in a way, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the time. A lot of lesbians, they'll literally just go to a sperm bank just so they can have a donor, and instead of trying to find somebody out there like they used to back in the day.
The problem with lesbian couples is that they actually have one of the highest divorce rates in marriage. Introducing a child into that mix is just gonna screw up the child even more.
What's the incentive for men to continue holding up society when they're being engineered out of relationships?
Men build things, then we die. It's in our fucking DNA. That's what we do.
Other than that, not much. There is no incentive anymore. We're being told that we have to do everything. We have to maintain society, that we have to keep protecting everybody. We have to defend our nation. But at the same time, we are still not good enough for a woman who's clearly a 3.5.
I don't know how to answer that.
There's not. That's why most guys have a lower quality of life. They don't choose to be more anymore. A lot of them just want to just go home, get drunk, and party.
What are your thoughts on using DNA to engineer a designer baby?
It sounds like something I'll never be able to afford to do, but if you could create a child that had no birth defects or delays and you could give your child the best start, why wouldn't you?
How is that giving your child the best start? By altering its DNA? That just sounds unnatural and incredibly dangerous.
Isn't that the reason why women choose high-value men with the best genes?
I don't know. I have 2 different baby dads and I'm not with either of them.
Why am I not surprised?
Are you familiar with the Terminator movies, and if so, can you explain the premise?
Okay, before we move any further in the comment section, gentlemen and gents, for this question, we are only referring to Terminators 1 and 2. Terminator 3 doesn't count. It retconned the whole thing and completely destroyed the mythos. Terminator Salvation was just nothing but Christian Bale screaming for 2 hours. We're not going to talk about Genesis, and Dark Fate doesn't exist, okay? So in the comment section, we're referring to only Terminator 1 and 2. I feel like I took too long to say that, but it had to be said, damn it.
I can't.
Yeah, the Terminator has to travel back in time, stop timeline of events that creates the destruction of the world.
Is it just me, or do I feel like every self-respecting man needs to know the plot of the Terminator? You don't need to know the lines bit by bit, but I feel like you should know the key bits and have a more accurate description than this. I feel like self-respecting men should know that. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong.
Is there a correlation between the plot of the Terminator movies and what's happening with women's empowerment?
No, not really. I don't think so. I think that has to do a lot more with, I guess, the doctors just kind of getting out of hand, creating more artificial intelligence versus just creating lab-born babies.
I don't really see the correlation between the rise of an AI machine that's hell-bent on destroying humanity with the rise of modern feminism, especially when you consider that the T-800s that were sent back weren't exactly the charismatic life of the party. Maybe I'm wrong, though.
Aren't they both about nurturing something until it evolves itself against you and determines you obsolete?
Actually, yeah, that is correct.
I feel like an idiot for not thinking that far ahead. No, well.
Yes, I could see that, yes.
Aren't they both about nurturing something until it evolves itself against you and determines you obsolete?
Yes, yeah.
Didn't both creations enslave their masters?
Yeah.
Is that what's happening?
Yes.
Didn't both creations enslave their masters?
Yep, but I mean, most of us guys are enslaved already, so I mean, that's kind of normal.
But people tend to forget the actual message of the first 2 Terminator movies, and that is the future is not set. We have no fate but what we make for ourselves. So long as we are living, so long as we are breathing, and so long as we are fighting, we can change things for the better. It wasn't until Terminator 3 came along and completely shat that particular bed. It's been a couple of decades, and I'm still kind of furious at that plot point. And that's going to do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that this particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down, click that like and subscribe button, and ring the notification bell. Let's give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Every single one of you is one magnificent little bastard. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.